What is a probate sale with full authority? You've probably heard this term and wondering what that is. We get into that next. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brendan Mohr, Realtor and Certified Probate and Trust Specialist by the California Association of Realtors.
And I'm Bill Heyman. I'm a licensed California professional fiduciary, as well as a licensed California real estate broker and a registered and bonded California legal document assistant specializing in probate and trust administration.
Now please like this video, subscribe right now. Want a no-cost probate service? Well, every day we help people save thousands of dollars and eliminate headaches with our one-of-a-kind probate administration service and real estate listing combo. If it's in California and real estate needs to be sold, you may qualify. So please reach out, even if you've started with somebody else or on your own. Our info is in the About section on this channel. We love your calls, texts, emails, and comments. Now let's get into it. So what is a probate sale with full authority? Now there's some other terminology for this, but first let's get into, well, in probate there's full authority and limited authority. Bill, what's a brief difference between the two?
Sure. Normally, most of the time in probate, just as you said, you're either going to have a real estate sale where the personal representative has full authority or has limited authority. And the basic difference is, if you have full authority, the sale is going to proceed pretty much like a regular real estate sale. Just a few additional little twists, but nothing really major. Limited authority, however, you gotta jump through a lot of more hoops, and you're gonna have to come back to court at a hearing and have a court confirmation hearing and have the court approve the sale. Whereas in full authority, that you don't do that. That's the basic difference.
And a limited authority one takes a lot longer, whereas a full authority sale takes really similar time to a regular real estate sale. Most real estate sales in California are escrow period. That's the start of when an offer is accepted to when it closes, 30 days or less. But we'll get into that more. I would say one thing that's very common if you're looking at a probate sale and it says something where it doesn't necessarily say full authority, but it might say no court confirmation is required. And that is essentially another way to say the estate representative has full authority to sell the property. And many times, like I said, full authority is not mentioned at all.
Right. And
it is similar to a regular real estate sale, but there are some main differences, and some of them are really positive. And then there is something that some people are scared of, but I want to go into this before we get into this. The main difference is, if you're thinking about buying a home that is in probate and there's full authority, no court confirmation is required, it takes a little bit of your agent talking with the listing agent to find out the details of everything going on. Don't be scared of it. No. You might find that it runs very similar to a regular real estate sale. Most of the ones we do are feel very similar. So some main differences. Well, what's the first one that you'd say?
Well, one of the main differences with a probate sale versus a regular is there's fewer disclosure requirements in a probate sale. And the disclosures that you normally do in a probate sale are much more simplified as compared to a regular sale in terms of documentation.
Yeah, that's true. Now, if you know no information about the property, you are required to report whatever was called a material fact.
Right.
That's something that can affect the value of the property. But there are fewer disclosure requirements. There's actually one particular form in general that is not required, that is required in most real estate sales, among some other smaller disclosures. As is sale. That is more unique to probate. Yeah. Now, technically, every home is sort of an as-is sale, but I would say probate is more so because of certain requirements you don't have. But I would say it's more just accepted that it's as-is in probate, right?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. In probate real estate sales, most people are more willing or understanding about accepting a quote as-is sale. Most probate sales that we're involved with, the sellers don't really want to do any repairs. They don't really want to give any credits. So it's much more common in a probate sale to be able to say, this is as is and we're not going to do anything. Whereas in a regular sale, yeah, like you said, every real estate sale is as is, but in a regular real estate sale, you're much more likely to get some negotiating going on back and forth between possibly repairs and credits and things like that.
Now, before your ears perk up a bunch and you're saying like, oh, I can sell this for, the exact price that the Smiths up the street sold their really nice house for, and there was a few repairs that they were asked to do, so they did some repairs or they offered a credit, but they got this great price for the house. Well, regardless of that as is sale part of probate, people are only going to pay what they are willing to pay for a house. Right. And if there are a bunch of items where they go in, they didn't realize it when they saw the house, they did some inspections. Anyone can do inspections typically, by far most cases, a buyer can do inspections. They find some crazy stuff, foundation issues, monsters in the basement. That I don't think I've ever seen that one. They can certainly, not certainly, but in most cases, say, hey, I'm gonna cancel this sale,
Or they might ask for a price reduction.
They might ask for a price reduction. They might ask for credits to their closing costs. And at that point, you're going to have to consider that and go from there. But most likely, they don't ask for repairs, and you usually have an excuse for that. And one of those excuses is usually, well, the estate doesn't have any funds to do that. And that's very accepted.
Yeah. Quite often. I was going to say another issue, though, that's different from a regular sale is in the standard purchase agreement for a real estate sale. There's a section in there about liquidated damages and about mediation if problems arise. Well, most of the time, the buyer and seller go ahead and sign that on a probate sale. But what you have to realize, and I believe it's in the probate addendum that you eventually attach to the purchase agreement, the court has jurisdiction over everything. If there's a dispute, something that's going on, dispute over the EMD or dispute over the property, the court has jurisdiction over that, and you got to go back to court to have them settle it if you can't come to some agreement among buyer and seller.
Yeah, that is definitely a difference. Another difference is that when you go to sell the house, a notice of proposed action needs to be sent out to anyone who's an heir or beneficiary, notifying them of the sale, the details of the sale. How does that briefly work?
Sure. What you want to do, ideally, what I always do is I will tell the real estate broker agent that I'm working with, which is 99% of the time which is you're great about, is get me a copy of that signed and approved purchase agreement right away. And then what you do from there is you prepare this probate document, which you mentioned, called Notice of Proposed Action, which details the specifics of the sale. A copy of that goes out to all interested parties, and you got to wait 15 days from the date of mailing in order to close. That's a mandatory required 15-day waiting period. And as long as nobody objects to the sale during that 15-day period, you can close on that 15th day or any time after that. There is a way around having to do that. There's a special probate form called a waiver of notice of proposed action. And if all the interested parties, which are usually just the heirs or beneficiaries, if they're willing to sign off on that waiver, that eliminates that 15-day waiting period, and you can close sooner if you want to.
Now, I want to touch on that real quick. If you are a seller of an estate, this is why you want to hire a real estate agent who knows probate, because they may not. Basically, when an offer is accepted, say me as the agent sends you the offer and you sign the acceptance, if I don't send that over to whoever is probating the estate, they have no idea that an offer's been accepted and that they need to start on that process. And then me as an agent is always, I never have to say this with Bill because I know that he's going to be on it right away and he understands the real estate process. He's a broker as well. If they don't start working on those notice of proposed actions, they can severely delay it. I've had people call me saying, oh, what's a notice of proposed action? I didn't know anything about it. I have agents calling me about that, and that's fine. Everybody has to learn. I've had people who are either buyers of an estate saying, hey, why has this been delayed? Can you tell me can you take a look at my case? Here's the details of the purchase I'm trying to make, and this is the information on this probate case. What happened here? And it's because whoever was probating the estate, simply they knew there was an accepted contract. They just delayed on sending out the notice of proposed action. And when you're talking about a real estate sale, we're on very strict contractual deadlines. And a lot of that has to do with, and there are so many things, so many reasons why. A lot of times it's because of lending, just the whole lending world, why you need to stay on a very strict deadline for things like rate locks, and we're in a world of constantly changing interest rates. You need to make sure that notice of proposed action, also called a NOPA, is sent out immediately. So if you're the seller of an estate, ask your agent if they've sent it to whoever's probating the estate. If you're an agent, ask whoever's probating the estate. If you're a buyer, ask your agent to ask the other agent to ask whoever's probating the estate if this has gone out. This is crucial. This is a step that is commonly missed, and why you need to have a team, whoever's probating your estate knows probate. We've seen attorneys that say on their websites they do probate, and when we worked with a lot of great attorneys, just because it says probate on their website doesn't mean they've done a whole lot of it. It doesn't mean they really understand the real estate side of things. But I can go on and on. Just make sure you have the right team that knows what they're doing. Not everybody knows a realtor, but not everybody knows a great realtor who knows probate.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. There's another issue that occasionally comes up, which can throw a royal wrench into your probate sale when you have full authority. And that's if notice of proposed actions go out and one of the heirs or beneficiaries objects. That's like pouring sand into your oil sump in your motor. It just grinds to a halt. What that does is it forces a full authority probate real estate sale situation into a court confirmation sale. And it's going to cause a lot of delays. It's going to be more expense to the estate. And it's possible that the sale might not go through, although unless the objecting party has a darn good reason for objecting, it will probably go through. And you might even lose your buyer. Once that happens, your buyer may say, I don't want to wait around for a court confirmation hearing, I'm out. So when a heir or beneficiary objects, it's a problem.
Now there is a way to get ahead of that, and a lot of that is the buyer's agent talking with the seller's agent, asking a little bit about the heirs and if everybody's on board to sell the house, if there's any sort of disputes, stuff like that. And in by far most cases that there aren't. I mean, it's really uncommon.
It is.
For ones I've worked on, I think there was only one time ever there was any sort of an objection, and that gentleman's reason for objecting was not a valid reason. He got absolutely reamed by the judge, and I think he got penalized. It ended up being bad for the estate. The estate lost money, they lost time, they lost that buyer. They ended up getting a new buyer, and it wasn't as good as the first buyer. So they lost a lot.
Yeah, I think they lost 30 or 40,000 because of that.
But there may be good reasons for an heir to object, and you just want to be as communicative with other heirs and transparent as possible. You don't want to look like you're doing anything like self-dealing, anything that's very selfish. When you're probating an estate, when you're, say, the administrator of the estate, you want to do everything you do in the best interest of the estate, not just say yourself as an heir or beneficiary, everybody wholly equally.
That's right, yeah. You must, if you are the administrator or executor of an estate, you have to do what's in the best interest of the estate and the heirs and beneficiaries.
Now again, full authority sale is very similar to a regular sale. I mean, there's timeline is very similar. Most of them that we do, we're closing in somewhere, typically we can close in as fast as maybe 18 to 20 days. And the 18 is because of the notice of proposed action and the 15-day grace period and the time that it takes to prepare and mail out the documents.
Right.
But that's very common. In under 30 days, which is very common for a regular real estate sale. There's the fewer disclosures, there's the as-is sale in most cases. I want to touch on that again just real quick if you're a buyer, because I've had buyers and buyers agents reach out to me and ask me, oh, this is a probate sale, so they're not going to do any repairs? Well, that just depends on your seller. We've been involved in probate sales where they want to get absolute top dollar. They want to do repairs, they want to present the house really cleanly. I've seen them do pest inspections and roof inspections before. I've had somebody put on a whole new roof on a house just because they wanted to get more for the estate. And if you know just a little bit about real estate, you know that the better the condition is of a home, the more desirable it is, the better emotional response you are giving to a buyer, the more money you are going to receive from that sale. Now in probate, a lot of people aren't in the position to do that, and that's totally fine. You can sell a home that's basically burned down to the studs, as is in probate. We have a video that by the time this one drops, the house was not in very shape. But yeah, condition of the home doesn't matter when you can sell any home in any condition.
You can sell it any way that, that the estate, the sellers, heirs, beneficiaries need to. Sure.
So if you see a house in probate that's on the market and there's full authority, don't be scared. Just talk with the agent and see what's going on, and expect a pretty normal sale. Anything else you'd like to add to this?
No, I think that's good.
Well, what you really need to know, so if you are a seller, you need to have a probate real estate agent. You need to have somebody who knows what they're doing. And we have a great video on that. It's called How to Hire a Probate Realtor. I have 10 interview questions with the appropriate answers in that video. And then at the end, I have a downloadable list with those same 10 questions, plus an additional 5 I don't get into in that video. It will help you determine if the agent you're interviewing understands probate. And we have that link next. It's going to be right over my face.